y a si longtemps déjà. J'ai oublié comment. Tant de mots, de moments pensés depuis longtemps. Devant ce mur muet, faut chercher autrement. Des photos, des regrets, pour que ça nous revienne.
Hello, and welcome to the Knitting with Cat Hair podcast. My name is Nikki. I'm also known as Knitting with Cat Hair on Instagram and Cat Hair Knitting on Ravelry. I am coming to you from Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, which lies atop the traditional lands of the Otagamishing and Anishinaabeg people, where I live with my fiance, our 2 daughters, and our 5 cats. And if this is your first time here, a big warm welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with me. This is primarily a knitting podcast, however, sometimes I talk about some of the other crafts I'm delving into at the time as well. So just a few admin things up front. We still have the Around the World Make-Along happening in the Knitting with Cat Hair podcast group on Ravelry. This is the last trimester. It's 4 months long. So it started September 1st and it's going to the end of December. And what we're doing is we're using patterns and yarns from the Western Hemisphere. And all the details can be found in my Ravelry group. You can check out the information there. And we also have another knit along happening over on Instagram. And this is the A Year of Mowry Wallin Cal, where we are knitting or crocheting patterns from Mowry Wallin. And all you have to do to be eligible for that is to have started your project after August 1st of this year and post pictures using the hashtag over on Instagram. And we have a little chatter thread going on over there. Everyone's so helpful. If you'd like to be a part of that, just send me a DM on Instagram and I will get you added to that chatter group as well. So with that, we'll move into the knitting chat, and I am not wearing anything handmade today. Unfortunately, the weather has taken a turn for the better, I guess. I don't know, it depends on your depends on your outlook, but it got warmer. So I was expecting to wear some of my hand knits today, my fall transition pieces, and it just didn't happen because it's just too warm. So sadly no hand knits, but the sun is shining and it's beautiful, so can't complain there. All right, so speaking of the Mowry Wallin make-along, I will move right into my Mowry Wallin work in progress. So I'm making the chestnut. And this is my progress so far. It's not a ton of progress, and I'll explain a little later, but yeah, so there's my progress keeper. So I did another repeat of this large band. I'm just basically repeating the pattern now. All the way up. I think I have to stop at 38 centimeters or something like that. This is the back piece, by the way. So we've got some corrugated ribbing at the bottom, and then the lovely Fair Isle pattern up the back. And yeah, so I ordered a kit for this. I'm using the original called for yarns, which are Mowry Wallin's British Breeds. 8 different colors, and yeah, I'm loving it. It's such a fun knit. The wool is so sheepy. It smells so delightful whenever I walk into the room where this project is sitting. So this is gonna look pretty messy, but I just have it sitting in this lovely handmade Tongan basket. Yeah, so I just leave this sitting out in my living room, and every time I walk in I can smell the sheepy goodness. It's lovely. It's a delight to work on, and the yarn is so soft, so soft. It's not like, I guess I expected it to be a little more rustic. It's 100% wool, but it's a nice soft wool. Let's see what it is. Sorry, I don't think I've ever talked about what this is. So on the label, it says that British Breeds is a fine blend of wool spun in Devon from the Blue-Faced Leicester, Exmoor, Wensleydale, and Zwartbols sheep breeds. So it's a combination, hence the British Breeds label, I suppose. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a lovely work in progress. And what else can I say? I'm making the extra large to accommodate my 45-inch bust. And yeah, I guess that's it for that one. We'll move on to the next work in progress. So housed in this beautiful little Blue Rabbit House bag is my Nightshift shawl. So I did get some progress made on the shawl. I think, well, I'll show you what I've done. So start off here, go all the way up here, and there's my progress keeper. So I really didn't do a ton, but the rows are getting so much longer. It takes so much more time, and I'm not loving this section at all. Truthfully, not loving. I think it might be the red and green next to each other. It's screaming Christmas to me, and it's really bugging me. So I think I'm gonna rip it back. Which means, because I was knitting this up as part of Fernanda of Little Monkeys and Me podcast and Ruth of Ruth Knits podcast. They have a knit along going on right now. I think it's called Across the Paul Shawl Cal. Yeah, it ends at the end of September, and I don't think I'm gonna get it done in time, sadly, especially if I have to rip back. But yeah, I don't love it, and I don't want to make something, put all that time and effort into something that I don't love. So yeah, so this is, as I mentioned, the Nightshift shawl by Andrea Mowry. It's mosaic knitting, so it's not true color work. It just involves slip stitches. It's very simple. Probably a great introduction to working with two colors if you've never done that before. I am using 3 different colors from Noro. They are all Silk Garden, which is 45% silk, 45% mohair, 10% wool. And what I've been doing is holding this neutral color as the background throughout the shawl, and then just alternating with 2 very similar colorful skeins. Here's one of them. So that is that. Stay tuned for the next, I guess, update on this one. I didn't want to have to plan the colors at all. I wanted this to be pretty much, you know, just knit from the ball. But like I said, I can't have the red and green. And that's actually one ball. Yeah, that came from a single ball. Those colors just happened to be next to each other in it. So anyway, that's that. So a bit more work to do on that one. All right, so moving on to my next work in progress. I did a little bit of work on my Beatrix sock. This is a pattern by Sabrina Justine. This is one that I work on when I have conference calls at work, and I didn't have that many conference calls, at least not conference calls that I could knit during, because I mean, sometimes I have to I have to present and things like that. I can't be knitting while I do that. But so I didn't get that much progress done. There's my progress keeper there. So I am on the heel now. And it's this beautiful colorwork sock. I'm really looking forward to getting it done. I am using 2 sizes of needles. So I use a US 3 for the colorwork because my gauge is apparently very tight for colorwork. And then I go down to a US 1 for non-color work. Sorry, motorcycles are out. It's sunny. That happens. And yeah, I'm knitting this up out of the called for yarn, which again was kindly sent to me by Sabrina Justine because I want a giveaway that she was doing. And this is the Garthanor organic sock. It is this one is 50% Romney, 50% Hebridean, colorway is Tegid, and this one is colorway is Glassland, and it's 90% Romney, 10% Hebridean. So no nylon in these socks. And I'm kind of doing after my experience last year with knitting a few pairs of socks and some slippers and stuff, and then wearing them and noticing lots of holes were developing in most of them. Not most of them. I guess the ones with nylon definitely didn't have holes, which is sad because I really do want to find an alternative. So I'm looking for alternatives, and I'll come to that a little bit later because I have some new yarns to try out. So we'll see how those go as well. But if you have any suggestions on for no nylon sock yarn that worked for you, I would love to hear it if you wouldn't mind leaving a comment down below. I know there's a lot of other podcasters have mentioned this as well. So yeah, between all of us and all of our shared knowledge, we should be able to come up with something, because I'm really trying to move away from synthetics. So now I will move on to my final work in progress, and this is a brand new cast on. And it is just housed in this giant bag from, I think I got this from Chapters Indigo. It's just like a faux leather kind of bag. I've had it for a while now, but it's perfect for this project because I'm using Nutiden. And as I've mentioned in the past, Nutiden has a habit of breaking fairly easily because it's an unspun Swedish fiber. I'll show you what it looks like. This is it. So I'm actually holding it 3 strands for this one. And this is Nutiden by Oner Akair. The colorway is Kospaneha or Shoshpaneha. I forget how to pronounce it. I'll put the word down below so you know what I'm talking about. And it's this lovely, like, I don't know how to describe it because sometimes it looks brown, sometimes it looks gray, sometimes it looks peachy. It changes color depending on what lighting you're looking at it under. It's pretty interesting. It's a very lovely yarn. Okay, so this is my Wild Posy. This is the Luna version. So there's 2 versions. There's a Flora version and a Luna version. And this one, the Luna, does not have lace. The Flora does. So yeah, this is a pattern by Melody Hoffmann, or B Mandarin on Instagram. And it is my very first test knit. And it's been a very enjoyable experience. It's pretty straightforward. I just follow the pattern and show pictures and note if there's any errors. And I've found, I think, 2 errors, but they were already caught like right away by someone else. So yeah, just smooth sailing. So I have you'll see I have my arms on waist yarn right now, and I'm just finishing up the body. It's got some ribbing at the bottom, and I believe there's a tubular bind off, which obviously I haven't done yet. And so the only modifications for this pattern that I've done are I've knitted the body longer. It's quite, it's not, I wouldn't say it's cropped, but it's I think the measurements is like 8 inches for the body, and then start the ribbing, and I knit for an extra 2 inches, I think, for 10 inches or so. Yeah. And it's got this lovely, lovely, beautiful textured yoke with some wrap stitches. It's just so pretty. And I obviously haven't washed and blocked this yet, but it's gonna bloom, because I know from knitting my test swatch that it's gonna bloom. It's gonna be so pretty, and it's so light because it's unspun. It's just really light and really warm. So I've done a fit test, and it fits well. Like I said, I did extend the length. I'm hoping it's long enough now. So the problem is nothing to do with the pattern. The yarn is dyed in small batches and really hard to, well, it's hard to get in the first place. And once you do, basically you're never going to get the same again unless you know someone who has purchased some. So I just want to extend a big, big thank you to Fernanda of the Little Monkeys and Me podcast, because she just finished knitting a gorgeous grow shawl by by Fiber Tales, and she used the exact same yarn, the Course Beneha Nutiden yarn, and she had some left, and she kindly agreed to trade with me, which I'm so thankful, because I was worried I wouldn't have enough, especially since I had to hold it 3 strands together. So I have 500 grams of this color myself, and I believe I'm getting an extra 200 grams, which should be enough to finish the sleeves. And then I think I'm gonna leave the body on a cable, and once I'm done the sleeves, I'll just add any length and use up all the rest of the yarn to add length to the sweater. So yeah, that's it's called the Wild Posy Jumper by B. Mandarin. And yeah, beautiful. Love it. And I have to have it done by October 4th or 5th or something, so you'll definitely see the finished one on the next podcast. Oh, today I'm drinking tea out of this lovely little sheep mug that my mom kindly gave to me, that she picked up from a lady who had a set. I think there was a whole set of them, all the farm animals, and she gave me the sheep one, which is so sweet. And I'm just drinking some loose leaf black tea. So I just have to say that every time I watch Kat from Heather and Hops, she makes me want to drink tea. I don't know what it is. Or I watched her and her husband did an episode where Alex, who's her husband, he is like a tea master. He does tea blending. And so he talked about his job and about tea in general. And I found that so interesting because I knew nothing about tea. Yeah, so I don't think I've ever tried like a legit good tea before. I always buy the ones that are in like tea bags. And this is my first loose leaf black tea. And I don't know, it definitely tastes better than the bagged one, but I don't know if this is like up to par. I'm probably not. So yeah, I don't know. Are you a tea drinker? I'm normally a coffee drinker. I'm a coffee drinker in the early morning, and then I switch to tea sometimes. And then depending on my mood. So sometimes I'll drink a green tea if it's a hot summer day. Yeah, but on a cold winter's night, I prefer a black tea. So yeah, let me know down below. Are you a tea drinker, a coffee drinker, both? Okay, so that is it for all my works in progress. I do have a few acquisitions, and some of them are yarny related, some of them aren't. So continuing on with the discussion about no nylon sock. My mom kindly gifted me 2 skeins of yarn from Small Bird Workshop. They are a Canadian hand dyer, and she's really, I'm trying to remember her name. Shoot, I can't remember. Anyways, the owner of Small Bird Workshop is really trying hard to be as environmentally conscious as she can. And so she's really trying to bring in different bases that can be used for socks. So this one is called, firstly, isn't that color just absolutely beautiful? The color is butterscotch pudding. Makes me hungry for butterscotch pudding. Anyways, so yeah, I think it's Covey or Covey. It's obviously a sock fingering weight, 80%. This one is actually superwash. Superwash wool, 20% hemp. Oh, it's hemp. Okay. For some reason I had it in my head that it was nettle. No, it's hemp. So there's 435 yards per 100 grams, and it's a 4-ply. So no plans for specific socks yet, but definitely looking forward to trying this out. I don't know if you guys can see, there's some little hemp bits kind of poking out. I think it's the hemp. It almost has like a little halo of little fibers. It should be interesting. I'm just trying to feel the difference between these two. So the other one is on her barn swallow base. This color is called Wood Smoke. It's just this pretty beigey gray. And this one is a 3-ply fingering weight, 70% wool, 30% mohair, 405 yards, non-superwash. Okay, so this is a wool mohair blend. So yeah, there's a little bit of fuzz. It's not like when you buy mohair lace, silk mohair lace, and it's really fluffy, floofy. That is not the case for this, obviously because of the blend, but it's got a little minor halo. So I'm very much looking forward to trying both of these out. They're just beautiful. And we'll see how they last. So yeah, so thanks again, Mom, for those lovely gifts. And what else? Oh, my mom also gifted me a bag of these beautiful toggles. So I don't know if you can see, but they're actually like legit made out of wood. And apparently they came from my grandmother's store. My grandmother, for those who don't know, was a seamstress, and she had her own store, her fabric store, and seamstress enterprise, I guess. And yeah, these came from her store, so that's beautiful. I'm not entirely sure what I'll use them for yet. I have an idea. I'm thinking about making perhaps I think it's called the Eastwind jacket by Emily Foden from her Knits About Winter book. I'll pop a picture in so you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, that might be perfect for these toggles, actually. Have you ever found a project to match your buttons? Or do you do the other way around? I think most people knit the project and then try and find buttons or toggles to match. I'm working the other way around here. So that was very lovely. And then I went to a thrift store last weekend, I think. And I know I said I'm on a yarn fast. Not supposed to be buying any yarn, but I couldn't help it. It was in the perfect color too. So I got two skeins of this, what is it called? Cloudborne Fibers Highland Superwash Sock Twist in the color Caribbean. And it is 80% superwash fine Highland wool, 20% polyamide. So yeah, $4 for these 2 skeins of sock yarn. So I couldn't resist that. And they'll make lovely socks. And then also while I was there, I found this beautiful book, not knitting related, but this is the Canadian Songbirds book. Canadian Songbirds and Their Ways. And I thought it was really lovely. And what I also found lovely about it when I was flipping through the pages was that in between the pages were a bunch of pressed leaves and plants that someone had been pressing, which I think is so, I don't know, there's something really whimsical about it, about the fact that, you know, obviously this book was well loved by somebody else, and there's evidence of its use for other purposes, and they obviously enjoyed nature, and I don't know, I thought that was really beautiful. I don't even know what this is. It almost looks like one of those creeping vines, but I thought their flowers were purple. Anyways, yeah, lovely book to add to my collection. And I think that's it. Wow, that was a quick one. I think, like, I honestly didn't have a ton of progress made on my projects because I had to really focus on my test knit that I was working on. And so once that's out of the way, yeah, I'll be able to turn my focus back to all my other projects. So I would love to know what you're working on, if you'd like to share in the comments down below. As you know, I'm always looking for more ideas, and I have a plethora of yarn. I think that's a grackle. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's making some strange sounds. anyways, yeah, so turning my attention to life stuff. Well, the kids finished their first 2 weeks of school. So far, so good. Neither of the schools have been closed due to COVID, so that's always a good thing. Yeah, it went well for both of them. They were both girls were really excited to see their friends again, and yeah, it's going well. What else? Oh, we went and visited my mom and my stepdad up at Birch Lake, and that was a lovely visit. I didn't take any pictures, I realize now. Oh well, you know what? Sometimes it's nice just to enjoy the moments and just, be there and not have to worry about pulling out your camera. So, sadly, I don't have any pictures to share, but it was a lovely visit. And what else? No plans really for the foreseeable future. We're just taking it easy, enjoying this unseasonably warm weather. And yeah, I had a new flower that I ordered a bunch of flowers from, oh my gosh, can't remember the name. I'll put it in. A bunch of native plants. And one of them was spotted bee balm, which I'd never heard of before. And I planted it in late summer. Well, no, early summer, I would say, early summer. And it just started to bloom. So I'll pop a picture in so you can see what it looks like. It's really lovely, and I can see why it's called spotted bee balm. It's got little spots on its, I don't know the plant parts, whatever that middle part is with the pollen. It's got some spots on there. It's really pretty. It's a very interesting looking flower. And apparently it's really, really desired by bees and other pollinators. So I just have the one flower that's blooming now, but hopefully next year. I planted 2 plants and they kind of vine out. They kind of grow along the ground and then pop up their flowers. So hopefully I get a bunch next year. Excited about that. And the grackles are, oh, yes, that's a grackle. Oh no, the squirrel's upset. Oh, it's a zoo back here. Anyways, I think I'll leave it there. I don't really have much more to say. So yeah, I hope everyone has a wonderful next 3 weeks, and I'll see you then. Bye.